Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm Arianna and I make videos about whatever I want because niches cramp my style. So today I'm going to be talking about the book The Guest List that is written by Lucy Foley, and this is my first book review, so give me some slack. I have been trying to read again to help my brain recover from long COVID. So I've been listening to audiobooks because that's easier for me than reading a physical book and following the words with my eyes. If I miss some plot points, which there's no spoilers in this video, but if I skip some things that were important in the book, I'm sorry. I'm trying my best. My brain is still healing, but I figured to do book reviews to help my brain start working again and to log the books that I read along the way. So I started reading this book because it was popular and I've heard about it on like book recommendation websites, and it's one of the books that I think is like high up on Amazon. I forget where I saw it first, but it was always like in my face telling me to read it, and I read the description and it sounded pretty interesting because I like Knives Out, the movie. I like pretty interesting mystery stories as long as it's kind of like well thought out. I don't like a lazy mystery where I feel like there's not a lot of plot points and it's not well thought out beforehand. So I'm not a fan of that type of mystery. But this book, I didn't finish it. Let me start off with that. I didn't finish it because it kept feeling like the plot was being dragged out longer and longer. And I kept waiting for like the mic drop moment where like the things were going to be revealed, and it just kept not happening. And I was just trying to like push myself to keep reading, keep listening, because I listened to the audiobook, to get to the end. But eventually I was just like, I keep pushing myself to keep reading a chapter and another chapter to get to like this turning point, and the turning point kept not happening, and there was just so much exposition of these characters and how they were viewing the situation, which I did find interesting how it switches between the characters' point of views between the chapters. That was interesting, but I didn't really care for any of the characters specifically. They were okay, but I felt like I had seen them before. They didn't really feel original to me or unique to the story. Nothing that I could like explicitly like connect to. So I think that's probably why the story wasn't my favorite, because I didn't have like a latch to it. I didn't have something that was gluing me down to find out what happened next. And for me, I feel like books, I either want to read the whole thing in a day, or I'm kind of just like reading here and there, and then I never finish it because it wasn't really interesting to me in the first place. So I think that this book falls into the later category. I borrowed this audiobook through my library, so I don't feel that bad about not finishing it, even though I used to like be like gung-ho about like finishing movies and finishing books even if I didn't like them. But now I'm like, if I'm like 2/3 of the way through the book and it's still not like making me happy reading it and it feels like a chore, then I'm just gonna stop reading it. And that's what happened. To show like how much I really wasn't into the book is I didn't even look up what happens at the ending. Like after I decided to stop reading the book, I didn't even look up to see what was the ending of the book. I still don't know because I don't really care. I think that maybe this genre just isn't for me. I did like how the author described the setting. That was interesting, and I liked the descriptive words that she used. It really like made me picture it. I don't know, because I usually like books that have the setting as part of the character, that the setting becomes a character in the book. But for some reason this book, it was just, I don't know. I think it was kind of like a mystery mixed with like a romantic comedy, and maybe that's why I didn't like it, because I don't like rom-coms. I do like the voice of the person who read the audiobook. They had like an Irish accent, I'm pretty sure. It was like a very enjoyable voice to listen to. It wasn't a voice that kind of made the story fall flat. It brought the characters to life, and I'm pretty sure either it was one actor doing like great voices, like several voices for the different characters, or it was several different actors. I don't know, honestly. Overall, if you like mysteries and rom-coms and that combination sound interesting to you, then I would read this book. Like, it takes place at a wedding, so maybe that would fulfill both of your genres that you like. Like I said, I do like movies like Knives Out and like mysteries and suspenseful, but I feel like this book kind of was like building up suspense, and it just, when it was supposed to be released, the suspense, and it was supposed to be a reveal, it kept like falling flat, and it kind of lost my attention. I feel like there should have been more twists and turns in the book, and then maybe I would have been more intrigued at each time. Like the suspense should have been increased, or it should have been a turn, instead of being like straightforward and like nothing happening that was that big. And I feel, I mean, I haven't read the end of the book, so I don't know, but a lot of the information, the exposition in the book felt like just filler, and I don't know if a lot of that has to do with the ending and maybe all that like comes together. But if it doesn't, then I feel like the book could have been like a novella. It could have been shorter and like taken out some of the things that weren't really necessary. But like I said, I don't know what the ending is, so maybe all those details given were important to the ending of the book. So I ended up rating this book 5 out of 10. It's not terrible, it's not my favorite, but it has an audience clearly because it's very popular. And like I said, I think I didn't like it because it wasn't my like favorite genre. If I like suspense, I mean like I want full suspense. I don't want like a little here and a little there. I want it like the movie Shutter Island. That movie is something that I like because it's very thought out, and if you watch the movie a second time, you realize all the clues are right in front of your face and you didn't notice them. So I feel like this book is kind of like a dulled down version of a mystery book, and also mixed with a rom-com, which both of those things aren't my favorite. It needs to be like full-on mystery. But I don't want to diss the author or anything, because I published a book myself. It's a collection of poems. It's not like a narrative story, but I know how much work goes into it, and clearly so many people like it, so this genre just clearly isn't for me. My interests change throughout the year. Like sometimes I want something that's really funny. I read a lot of like biographical books, like autobiographies, and that's kind of where I'm interested lately, so that's probably why this book wasn't my favorite, but I gave it a try. Right now I'm reading The Body Keeps the Score. It's more of it is a non-fiction book, and it's about trauma and how the body deals with it and copes with it, and how if you don't deal with it well, it can really harm your life and like your thoughts if you're not aware. But there are ways to help it, and that's why I'm reading the book, because it's really interesting. I also pre-ordered 2 books that are supposed to come out next month, so if you want me to review those, let me know. So thanks for sitting through this. You'll see my face next time. If you subscribe, please subscribe. I appreciate it. A thumbs up this video, or follow me on Instagram at Aloha Arianna. I post photography and stuff on there, and I've been pretty active on it lately. I don't post videos always about books or always about this or that. I post whatever I'm interested in, otherwise I feel trapped, and my creativity suffers if I make myself only make videos about one thing, because my my interests span so wide, so I can't just make videos on one thing, otherwise I'm like, oh no, what about everything else? Pokemon video? Ed Sheeran made a song for Pokemon? Interesting.